do a video today called The Philosophy of Magic. Because, I've been going over many different subjects in my videos. Obviously, all of what the Pythagorean Illuminati is talking about and revealing with all of their work. That is the greatest work that has ever been devised by humanity. And obviously my life has been remembering, my being in the Illuminati and the mission that's behind what the Illuminati are involved in, which is the liberation and enlightenment of humanity. So that's the battle between light and darkness. The war between light and darkness. Which, if you're a knight, if you're a Templar knight, you are in that war between light and darkness, and you did choose the light, and then now you're fighting for the light. So that has led me to finding the enlightened ones, and now I am giving that information out to the world, to society, so that the people can know the truth, because that's what's been kept from humanity. So it's obviously part of my mission to ignite the light once again in humanity. So I've been doing that with my life, with writing my books. I've written 14 books. Son of the Morning was my first one, and everything just goes together. Everything connects. So I can just pick up something and start reading it, and then associate it with my life and what's going on in the world, and that's becoming more apparent every day. So it is part of my, as a Hierophant. A Hierophant is somebody that can initiate somebody into the mysteries, and I had a Hierophant do that to me, and now I am a Hierophant doing that to anybody who listens. The words that are coming out of my mouth, which the word is actually the power. So this is what I'm doing in my teachings, is teaching about the Illuminati's knowledge, which has been dialectically evolved since its inception in 561 BCE, which is before all the Abrahamic religions were even created. So it is an ancient secret religion that it's not new, it's old, but it's what is going to be acknowledged by all once again. So I'm just reading from some things, Emerald Tablets, because that's important right now. I included the Emerald Tablets in my book, and it was written by Thoth the Atlantean, and he was a magician, priest, king in the time of Atlantis, and he gives the account of Atlantis, everything they learned in the temples, how they went over to Egypt, how they rose up Egypt to who they were, and then contained the mysteries and the teachings in the pyramids and the Sphinx and all of that. And it is a real account, and it's prophetic. So in this chapter, he's 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that led into light, and as many times have I descended, my strength and power renewed. Now, for that saying right there, like there's multiple layers of meanings to this magical writing. And 100 times 10 have I descended the dark way that led into light, and as many times have I descended my strength and power renewed. 100 times 10 could be you going to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Because you go to sleep and you descend the dark way that leads into light, because you obviously have your dreams, and that's in Omega world. This is Alpha world. That's in Omega world. That's in the dimensionless world of mind, and then this is the dimensional world of matter. There's two realms, and then this is part of what the elites keep secret. And also 100 times that can also mean like meditation, because each time you go into meditation you descend the dark way, meaning it's dark but it always leads into light. When you hit that spot that you're meditating in, and then you see the light. It happened to me when I had my Kundalini awakening, and then meditated for the first time, saw the all-seeing eye, you know what I'm saying, popped out of my body, was over the fields, over these desert fields, palm trees, and then the Great Pyramid was in front of me, and that was the first time I definitely saw the light and had a out of body experience, which you are going out of your body, but you're going out of the physical into the non-physical realm, which is actually responsible for the physical realm, because it is mind that creates matter. And that's what the Illuminati do in all their books, is explain that through the grand unified theory of everything, which is the answer to everything. So every time you go, your strength and power renews. Every time you go to sleep, your strength and power renews. Every time you meditate, your strength and power renews, because you're coming back from the light. Like that's what you're doing. Like when you wake up in the morning, you're coming back from another realm, and that's why when you remember your dreams and stuff, like you are experiencing a non-physical reality, which some that science doesn't want to accept and acknowledge, and something that even religions can't scientifically explain, but the Illuminati do. And then they link the two realms together, which solves the Cartesian dualism, the mind-matter dualism phenomenon, and which it says mind is a realm, matter is a realm, and then it interlinks through actually what is called light, and that's mind. And the mathematical term is a Fourier transform, which in a sinusoidal wave is what a thought is. So this is all coming from the immaterial dimensionless realm. Like all of this is being made into form. So all of my understanding, through all the years of my awakening, has led me to understand these secrets, these mysteries that what you think literally matters, and this is what the mystery schools teach. So that's why we sit in meditation and just think on symbols, which is the key to magic, because you give it energy and then it manifests in your reality. So that's really the key, is focus on something and materializing it, which is what the elite have been able to take away from our education, that's what the nature of reality is, because the real disclosure is not UFOs and aliens, it's actually the nature of reality. So that's what I'm doing. That's the disclosure that I'm doing. And so he says, these are all different parts of the things, but I chose certain parts of the Emerald Tablets that were powerful and meaningful to me, because I can explain it and interpret it, because it's the truth. So he says, "Great were my people in the ancient days, great beyond the conception of the little people now around me, knowing the wisdom of old, seeking far within the heart of infinity, knowledge that belonged to earth's youth." So, that is significant because he's saying, back in the days of Atlantis, he's saying great were the people because the consciousness was risen to a much higher level than it is now. But we're going through a consciousness shift right now, and so we're actually going back to that, because back then people were, the way breath was taken in was different, and that is a key factor of why the consciousness was different. But he says, great beyond the conception of little people now around me, like basically like the little people, like the people that are mind controlled, the masses that don't know the nature of reality, that are just are completely controlled, and that's what he was referring to. So knowing little people, knowing the wisdom of old, saying that we knew the great ones knew the wisdom of old, seeking far within the heart of infinity, knowledge that belonged to earth's youth. So to the youth, the knowledge of the truth is what belonged to earth's youth. And that is that you are God. You are becoming God. You are God in the flesh, and you are a spirit and a soul in the flesh, in matter, and you are literally, we're creating reality. And the elite know that, so that's why they've been able to use us to create their world. So, but I'm giving away how to combat that though through magic, through knowing what magic is, how to use it, and the power of the mind, the power of the thought, the power of the word. Because before all this, like years ago, when I was first awakening, I was sitting there focusing on the future, focusing for that time, creating energy around, images that I was creating to represent my dreams, which has now taken me to this point now where if I didn't do any of that, I would be on a completely different timeline that was not empowered as I am now. So that is my endeavor, is to give everything that I learned a way to empower people to their sovereignty and their freedom and their liberation in this time of oppression and tyranny and control, because it is a Orwellian technological dystopia that we live in right now. So the connection to the source is going to be what combats that, the taking over of that. So that's what I'm doing with the teachings of magic, of true magic, which I found the Illuminati, and then they actually wrote a book called The Transcendental Magicians, where they explain all of magic. And when I first woke up, I obviously started studying magic because that was what I was remembering, from past lives in Egypt and stuff like that, and other lives, and and all of the lives, like in Viking times and medieval times, in Egyptian and Atlantis, and all of the eras. I have always been part of this lineage, and so I started studying that, and then that's what led me down the path of truth, and then conspiracies, secret societies, UFOs, aliens, past life memories, the whole thing, and then I found out that it was all the conspiracies were all just connected to form one big grand unified conspiracy, which that was the true nature and the true identity of God. So I learned that when I found the Illuminati, the Pythagorean Illuminati. And so, I obviously chose today to talk about magic because it is like people are scared of it or misunderstand it, because people fear what they misunderstand, and obviously magic is something that a lot of people misunderstand, and so they fear it, put darkness around it and stuff, and use it for darkness, misuse it and stuff. But I'm not one of those, because I chose the light. So magic is as ontological engineering. Points that words can metamorphosize into sensory objects. Echoes the ancient idea of the logos, the creative principle of the universe. In Pythagorean and Hermetic thought, the logos is both mathematical and linguistic. Numbers, symbols, and sound vibrations are all words in different dimensions of reality. A magician, then, is a programmer of existence, fluent in the root code. So that just like even in like with Egyptian, magic, that's what they were talking about: the power of the word, and the power of thought, and the power of deed, and the connection with as above, so below, and that being the manifestation, like you taking it from the immaterial, dimensionless realm, and then bringing it into the world of materiality and dimension. And it's not complex. It's actually what they say Occam's razor is, because the most simplest explanation is what Occam's razor is. So this is a simple explanation of how manifestation works. The spoken and the written word. Spells are spoken because vibration carries intent directly into the fabric of the world. Spells are written because symbols anchor intent into the form and persist across time. In Kabbalah, this is the distinction between the utterance of creation, dynamic, and the Torah as written code, static and enduring. So, breaking down spoken word causes vibration that, weaves its fabric into the world. You speak things into existence, they manifest. And then the written word are symbols that anchor and things into form across time. Like, so writing is a form of magic. So like writing spells and like speaking them into the world is not some like woo woo dark magic thing. It's like it is what you want. Like you are speaking it into existence, and it's not crazy or like satanic or demonic, unless you're doing it for a negative intent. So words as reality keys. Syntactical nature of reality is a modern articulation of a truth mystery schools guarded. Change the syntax and you change the reality. This is why sacred alphabets, Hebrew, Greek, Egyptian, hieroglyphics, Enochian, were themselves treated as magical. Each symbol was a multi-dimensional switch in the architecture of the universe. So, words being as reality keys, syntactical nature of reality, basically changing the word, changing the thought, it changes the syntax, which changes the reality. So, once you learn how to change your mind and then change your thoughts, you can change your reality because you are the creator and the programmer of your reality. So, that's what the key is freedom of thought, liberation of thought, so that you can actually think things into existence. Imagining your world into existence, which is what the mystery schools knew was happening, because this is what actually the pharaohs knew this, and that represented Kundalini, and the snake on the head represented someone that had been through the mystery schools and now had awoken their Kundalini. The Jedi had risen their Kundalini up the spine in the Jedi, and now they were imagining their world into existence, which I went through that process in creating this book, and that's what this book is all about. So these words, like I wrote these, and now in time, in space, they've become manifest. So it is all definitely coming to pass. Which I said actually in my book, in Ezekiel 33:33. And when this happens, and lo it shall, then they shall know a prophet hath been among them. So I definitely wrote that for a reason too. The weapon and the shield. If words can bring things into existence, they can also unmake them. In the hands of the transcendental magician, language becomes both sword and shield, capable of dismantling curses, illusion, and even collective myths that bind humanity in the demiurge's net. So, yeah, the magic and the words, it is the weapon and the shield. And that is what I've used in, like, my magic, my light has been my weapon and shield against the demiurge, against the forces of darkness that have, like, seek to keep me enslaved and seek to keep everybody enslaved, because they know that my soul has had the hero's journey and gone through the whole process to liberate and free myself from the clutches of their control and demiurge, and they know that. And they know that I can actually get through to other people too, and then free and liberate them too. Because I am liberated from the demiurge, and that's part of the hero's journey. The world of common day, the call to adventure, the refusal of the call, the extraordinary world meeting with the mentor. Road of tests and trials, atonement with God, seizing the reward, the magic flight back, the master of two worlds, and the freedom to live is what the process is. But you only get the freedom of live after going through the extraordinary world, coming back, and then explaining to everybody what's going on. So I've been able to obviously keep at bay the forces of darkness, because I am getting stronger mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally every day. I'm not getting torn down, which I know the whole world is right now. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I trained for what I trained for at this time, and I'm going to continue just bringing the light into the world. So, I mean, that like 25 minutes. So, yeah. So, okay. talking about the spell of collective reality. So, the collective reality is obviously the common consensus of what everybody agrees is reality, which, in the Orwellian state that we live in, propaganda, mind control, through TVs, through cell phones and stuff, they're using all of that to create a collective consensus reality, which is not really what is real, which is what the Matrix, everyday 9 to 5, just keeping back everything. Obviously, that has broken down. Like, that Matrix has broken down. They've lost control of that, and now people are waking up to what's really going on, like the real reality, and this is changing the collective reality. So this is actually changing our reality, our collective reality, which the objective reality that we experience is a collective of everybody's minds creating this reality, this material reality. So that is obviously changing with the phases of disclosure that are happening right now. And this is all this is really getting down to who we are, and which we are divine, and that's what the truth is. So when you say ideas can colonize people's minds, you're describing memetics, the science of how ideas behave like living organisms, spreading, mutating, and embedding themselves into a host population. In magical terms, this is mass enchantment. So the elite, you know what I'm saying, know how to do this, spread ideas on a massive level, which, even like influencers and stuff are used to do that too. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because, I don't have 100,000 million followers, but I'm still getting out the idea of illumination and illuminism out in the world, because the Illuminati have been doing this since 2012, and it is reaching more and more people, despite the books being banned by the Vatican and Amazon. So and it is an eternal mission. So I'm never gonna stop doing this, and because I know it is the answer to the world's problems. So I will, as a night of illumination, I will continue to illuminate. So, ideas as armies. Your use of Hugo's quote is perfect. An idea whose time has come doesn't just inspire armies, it is an army. It is a legion of minds marching in sync. It's the magical principle of egregores, collective thought forms so powerful they act with a will of their own. So, all this that I am talking about is definitely from finding the Illuminati. Like, I'm giving all the credit to the Pythagorean Illuminati, and that I found them, that I'm even able to talk about this, because this is my work as a continuation of their work. So, when Victor Hugo's quote, there's one thing more powerful than all the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. That's like the most powerful quote in the world. And, how it is an army, it's a legion of minds, because the revolution starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. So, as an idea. So, the one thing is that the elite have not wanted is illumination or illuminism, or that the Illuminati are the enlightened ones or the good guys that have the answers to everything. They do not want that information out. So it is my mission to start an army, to start a legion, to start, to make this into an egregore, which an egregore is a collective thought form that has a mind of its own, just like Christianity, just like Judaism, just like Islam. So this is the illumination and the Illuminism egregore. So language as immortality. The Stone Age genius who tamed fire is forgotten because they had no words to pass on their identity. Without language, even the most world-changing act dies with the actor. Words not only shape the present, they defy death. This is why mystery schools guarded written knowledge so fiercely. So that's just saying right there how language is what's immortal. Writing down things is what immortalizes things. That's why the mystery schools, guarded the written knowledge so fiercely. That's why Thoth the Atlantean is the god of magic, writing, and the moon. And it's said if you read that tablets, Thoth will definitely come through you, which has come through me because there's no other explanation of how I've written 13 books, and I've written more than that. So the Logos as the master key. Your use of John 1:13 draws the direct theological parallel. In the Abrahamic view, creation is a speech act. God doesn't forge the universe with tools. He speaks it into being. This isn't just poetic metaphor, it encodes a metaphysical principle. Language is the interface between mind and matter. That's huge though, because that you can't just think it, you got to speak it into being. And language is what forms that from mind into matter. And it's the act of the language that creates the magic. And they even said it in the Bible. And the Logos, which is the mind, is the key to the word spoken. The magician as wordsmith. If the word is the ultimate creative force, then to master words is to walk in the domain of gods. This is why the transcendental magician must be more than a ritualist. They must be a poet, an orator, a storyteller, a philosopher. Each role wields language as a weapon, a wand, and a key. So that's just a little introduction into what a magician is, like through ontological mathematics, and that is what I am. So I'm creating all these classes. In my Get response, I have created my first course, the God Game, where I just go over the whole book, the God Game, and just put all the information in that. Obviously written by Mike Hockney, who is in the Pythagorean Illuminati. Mike Hockney isn't his real name because these the Illuminatist members that have been responsible for creating this great work are using pen names. So my first class is the God Game, and it goes over that book. My second one is going to be the philosophy of magic. So it's going to obviously go over the mind matter phenomenon, how to manifest, and the whole book that I'm working in called The Transcendental Magicians. So that's it for now, and until next time.